Nashville mourns. A shooter opens fire at an elementary school.
Victims identified. A factory explosion leaves 7 dead.
SEPTA security. New turnstiles coming to Philly.
Dr. Jason Wingard has announced he's officially stepping down tomorrow after nearly 2 years as Temple's president. Hello and welcome. You're watching Temple Update. I'm Melissa Clausel.
And I'm Haya Qubbaj. Wingard's resignation comes the week after Temple's faculty union authorized a no-confidence vote against senior leadership. In an email sent out to the university Tuesday, Board of Trustees Chair Mitchell Morgan praised Wingard for his contributions to the university and thanked him for his dedication to the Temple community. In an interview with the New York Times, Wingard said, quote, "I recognize that all the attention and focus that was being placed on me, and it was getting hotter and hotter. It was disallowing us from being able to satisfy the strategy I mapped out."
Dr. Jason Wingard joined the university back in July 2021 as Temple's first Black president. In his 2 years as president, the university faced growing safety concerns amid gun violence and crime near campus. Wingard's goal was to improve safety following the murder of Temple student Samuel Collington, who was shot and killed near campus in November 2021. Wingard promised to increase Temple's campus safety force by 50%. This goal has still not been met.
In spring 2022, Temple Update sat down with Wingard to discuss campus safety and reflect on his first year as president. Wingard was officially inaugurated a few months later in a ceremony at the Leocoris Center. In December, Wingard announced his plans to sell his Chestnut Hill home and move to an off-campus row home on Carlisle Street. His home was never put on the market.
The spring 2023 semester brought more controversy when TUGSA went on strike in late January, following unsuccessful negotiations for more benefits and higher wages. During the 6-week strikes, Temple saw continued crime and gun violence, including the murder of Temple Police Sergeant Christopher Fitzgerald. Temple's faculty union then authorized a vote of no confidence against Wingard and other university leaders. Wingard announced his resignation a week later.
I spoke to Temple students about their reactions to Wingard's departure and how they feel about Temple's current administration. Here's what they had to say.
People weren't feeling like they were being heard. And, it was just so bizarre to people that they couldn't get in contact with their university's administration when they pay so much money to get here.
Keep Us Safe to You founder John Mangan, one of several students who organized a safety rally earlier this semester, says the main issue with Temple's leadership is lack of communication.
Nobody expected Temple to just stop the crime. We know it's going to happen, but they expected some type of response. And for months, there was nothing. And there was just this constant PR cycle.
After serving as Temple's president for nearly 2 years, some students say they were not expecting President Jason Wingard to resign so soon.
I definitely say I was surprised because, as you know, he's relatively new and he moved here.
Some students told me that they are surprised Wingard has stepped down, but others said that they were expecting this.
I was not surprised at all. I think he's been facing a lot of backlash, especially after the shooting regarding the Temple police officer and kind of how he handled that whole situation.
CLA alum Sydney Badman says that although Wingard joined the university during a tough time, he could have done more.
I do think it's kind of a situation of bad timing for him. Obviously, he could have handled things a lot better, I think.
Junior Anya Rainwater thinks one of the issues with Wingard's leadership was his approach to education.
But I do think that Wingard has a lot of perspectives on just turning college into a really profitable thing as efficiently as possible.
Rainwater also believes the president should have worked harder to negotiate with Temple's Graduate Student Association during their strike earlier this semester.
How he reacted to TUGSA was a big indication of how little he values instructors as kind of this core of our system here at Temple.
Mangan says that he's concerned for the future of Temple's leadership.
At the end of the day, the same people who appointed President Wingard's administration are going to be appointing the new administration.
Most students I spoke to say they hope the next president will have a more active presence within the Temple community.
I think actually showing up in different and more powerful ways is more important for a new leader of the school.
Mangan also told me that he believes it's up to students to voice their concerns to administration and demand change from Temple's next president.
The Temple University Police Association has also been outspoken in criticizing how the university has handled safety and communication with community leaders. Temple Update spoke with TUPA President Alex Schaefer about these concerns. Schaefer says that after calls for new leadership, he saw the resignation coming.
The situation he kind of came into was a very, very tough situation. And I think it would have been tough for any leader to handle these types of challenges that the university is facing. But I think the biggest issue that he had was his commitment to not communicate with relevant stakeholders. And I think that created a real big divide within the community. It sounds very simple, but having an open line of communication to that administration, that office goes a long way.
Leader will openly communicate with faculty and students about safety and security on campus.
The Temple Association of University Professionals has announced that they will still hold a vote of no confidence despite President Wingard's resignation. The vote will target Board of Trustees Chairman Mitchell Morgan and Vice Provost Gregory Mandel and is set to take place April 10th.
Again, President Wingard's resignation goes into effect tomorrow.
For now, a group of Temple senior administration will lead the university. Stick with Temple Update as further details develop in the search for his permanent replacement. Police are still searching for a suspect in a quadruple shooting off campus. An attempted carjacking at 19th and Berks turned deadly Sunday morning. 2 men were killed and 1 is still in critical condition. Officials found 3 guns at the scene.
First Lady Dr. Jill Biden attended yesterday's vigil in Nashville to honor those who died in the tragic elementary school shooting earlier this week. The Nashville community came together to mourn the 6 victims, including 3 children. Police identified the shooter as 28-year-old Audrey Hale, a former student of the Christian school. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee expressed his grief for the families of the victims and the Nashville community.
Remembering that as we grieve and walk together will be the way we honor those who were lost. We can all agree on one thing, that every human life has great value, and we will act to prevent this from happening again.
Police have yet to confirm a motive for the shooting.
Tap water is safe to drink, but the Temple community was preparing for the worst as Philadelphia officials warned of possible contamination in the Delaware River earlier this week.
Temple Update's Kayla Stewart has more on the university's response. Good morning, Kayla.
Yes, that's right, Haya and Alyssa. Philadelphia Water Department has confirmed no contaminant was detected in the Philadelphia drinking water system and that they do not think the city will be impacted. Take a look at what led to this decision.
Water is safe, the water is clean, you can use it for drinking, cooking, bathing.
That is what Director of Emergency Management Nicola Mammis says after a hazardous spill in Delaware River tributary left Philadelphia residents rushing to stores to stock up on cases of water. Earlier this week, Temple geared up to cover water fountains across campus to ensure students' safety. Director Mammis says Temple has a plan for if this were to happen again.
All of the plans that we were discussing for water distribution included those dining halls, and if we were in a similar situation in the future, again, we would include that as a consideration.
The Philadelphia Water Department sent out a public safety alert on Sunday evening, notifying the public not to drink or cook with tap water. Some Temple students were left concerned about their water usage and accessing water on campus.
Because I was working at the time it was announced, so I was a bit worried, but when I had got home, actually, my parents had notified me that they had found some bottled water packages that they had bought from a nearby grocery store or supermarket.
I thought it was really sad because this isn't the first thing that's happened this year, and it feels like it just keeps on getting worse. So it kind of felt apocalyptic in a way.
While some students are worried, senior Jennifer Lee says she's lucky.
Well, I'm fortunate enough to be able to go to the suburbs and get water, and I know a lot of people aren't going to be able to.
Yes, Director of Emergency Management Nicola Mammis has also advised students to continue following university announcements in the case that Temple does put out information about any potential emergency situations. You can follow at Temple UOEM on Twitter. Reporting for Temple Update, I'm Kayla Stewart. Haya and Alyssa, back to you.
Thanks, Kayla. Berks County has confirmed the identities of all 7 victims in an explosion at a West Reading chocolate factory Friday. West Reading officials have planned a vigil tomorrow to honor the 5 women and 2 men lost in the accident. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating a natural gas pipeline as a possible cause for the explosion.
Philadelphia Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw is home, recovering with minor injuries after she and 3 other people were involved in a car crash in Center City. An Uber driver ran a red light at 15th and Ray Street and hit Outlaw's car Wednesday. All 4 people involved in the accident were transported to the hospital and reported to be in stable condition.
SEPTA is going to new heights to keep people from jumping the turnstiles on the Market-Frankford line. Temple Update's Maximo Cespedes has details about this new security measure.
SEPTA has announced that new turnstiles will be installed at its 13th Street and 34th Street stations on the Market-Frankford line. The new turnstiles have been designed to be around 8 feet tall instead of the current 3 feet. The turnstiles are designed to stop people from jumping over or crawling under them, one of the main reasons SEPTA has lost $22 million since July. Andrew Bush, Director of Media Relations for SEPTA, hopes that the turnstiles will deter non-commuter traffic.
We think that this is going to help with overall efforts to make sure that our stations are a place where people are traveling to and from. Stations are not intended to be places where people gather for long periods of time.
Jordan Salamane, an adjunct instructor in the Department of Landscape Architecture at Temple University, says the new turnstiles will do more harm than good.
That the people this new turnstile design will shut out would otherwise be paying for a fare. And by decreasing turnstile jumping opportunities, what SEPTA is really doing is decreasing access to the most vulnerable populations of Philadelphia, decreasing their access to transit and opportunities to have jobs and become paying SEPTA customers.
For more information on current and future SEPTA projects, visit septa.planning.org. Reporting for Temple Update, I'm Maximo Cespedes.
Thanks, Maximo. Spring is finally here, and the weather couldn't be better, except for maybe today. Joe Zera is out on campus enjoying the sunny skies. How's it looking out there, Joe?
Thank you, Alyssa. Right now it is very cold with 35 degrees, but there is no clouds in the sky. And later today, around 4 or 5, we reached a high of 48 degrees, so it's still kind of cold. But after today, spring temperatures are rolling in. After some rain Saturday, we have a high of 72 degrees, which is beautiful to me, and it only gets warmer. That's all the updates I have for you right now, but I'll be back in the Weather Center with more updates. My name is Joe Zera. Back to you, Alyssa and Haya.
Thanks, Joe. Coming up on Temple Update.
Klein brings back a beloved event in person.
Students get a head start at the career fair.
A rally at the Bell Tower for Trans Day of Action.
Temple's men's basketball team has found their head coach. I'm Olivia Benner, and I'll have more on their new hire over at the sports desk.
We'll have those stories and more next.
Stick with us.